Welcome to Don't You Two Read, a podcast where two sisters talk about all things books.
We're just two girls who found ourselves texting about books on a daily basis and thought, why not turn on a mic?
We'll be talking about our recent reads, a weekly bookish topic, and what we're looking forward to reading next.
So grab a cup of coffee and maybe even a snack and be prepared to take down your TBR and add a lot to it as we talk all things books.
I'm Hilary, a mom in Oklahoma, and I am excited again about book club.
And I'm Hannah, a stay-at-home mom in Texas, and I loved this book.
Okay, hey guys, we're so excited. I'm excited about this book club, vintage book club again, because the grace year was just not for us, and we were a little nervous heading into this book, but I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about it. So, we are talking about Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton today.
Yeah.
And Hannah, I already know you love this book like so much, which I did too. Spoiler, but
I'm like, how much did you love it? No, I'm just kidding. Did you watch the movie?
Yes, we watched it last night. I watched it last night with Taylor.
Okay, I can't. Have you seen all of the movies?
I know I've seen no, I have not seen all of them. I know I've seen like 2 and 3, but it was so long ago that I have no recollection of them. I think maybe as a kid. And then um obviously I've seen Jurassic Park. Like I feel like I watch that every couple years and then every few summers at least. And then Jurassic World I've seen. I think I've seen the second. How many Jurassic Worlds are there? 3?
There's three from the old, and then there's
Yeah.
three from the new, and then there's one that's coming soon.
Oh, yeah. So I have not. No, I'm behind.
Okay, so I have gone on a full deep dive this week, or the last, yeah, I feel like the last week. So I finished Jurassic Park, the book, and I watched all the movies, so like all the old ones, and then I watched Jurassic World, which is the new number one, and then I am in the middle of number two right now. And I don't know all the names. They're all like complicated, but that's where I'm at, and I have the third one borrowed from the library. So
The
I'm
the guy from Wicked is going to be in the next Jurassic World. Did you see that?
okay. What do you mean from Wicked? He's in all of them.
Oh, he is?
Yes, he's Malcolm.
Oh,
Oh my
not
goodness.
him.
Who are
No,
you
not
talking?
him. Not Malcolm.
Okay, but he
The
is in
Yes, he is also in Wicked. Yes, Malcolm is in Wicked. He's the
Oz.
wizard. Yeah.
Yeah, or yeah.
No, I mean Fiero.
What? No, I don't know any of this. I just thought thought you meant Jeff Goldblum, and I was
No.
like,
Uh, when you said that, I was like, wait, he's the new Malcolm? Like, what? Okay, no, the other guy, the romantic interest. He's in
hmm.
the new Jurassic World that's coming out.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about the book. So what did you think? What are your initial thoughts that you want to start getting
Okay,
into?
should we first say what the book is about?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I was talking to Josh about this, and I was like, do we need to have a synopsis? Like, I feel like you would know, like people would know. This is what he said. He said, if you've been living under a rock for the last 35 years, this book is about a rich duder who hires scientists to clone dinosaur DNA that they found to create a dinosaur island theme park. This book explores all the ways that it could go wrong. So I think that's pretty accurate.
So that was his
That was
version?
yeah, his synopsis. I felt like the book really, like the theme of the book for me was focusing on like the dilemma of science. I mean,
Yeah.
specifically about DNA science, but I feel like in general, like it could apply to many areas of science. And like the dangers of like reaching too far. And I think that's where I think the movie and the book kind of differed a little bit.
It's hard because I was talking to Taylor about it yesterday, how the book itself is almost like 500 pages. It's not little. It's a decent sized book, and the movie itself is 2 hours, and there's just no way you can get that much into a 2-hour movie. So a lot did get cut out, and what was crazy is like it was like 20 something minutes maybe whenever they were in the world or the park in the Jurassic Park. And Taylor was like, well, at what point did was this in the book? And I was like, it was pretty far. It was like almost 30%. It took almost like 30% before we were like in the park. And what's crazy is I don't think it was boring. I wasn't bored, but I was like, when are we getting to the park?
Okay,
Like in the movie, I feel like it's there pretty fast.
so I did think that too. So the book, because did you, well, you've watched the movie. Okay, so I had not really watched the movie, like sit down, full attention, watch the movie ever really until this week. So I read the book first and then I watched it. I feel like I read it, but I hadn't finished. I had read the book halfway and then we watched the movie because Josh watched it with me. But I did notice that the beginning of the book starts very like, I mean, I say boring. I don't mean that in a bad
It's
way.
more like scientific and
It's
analytical.
it starts with like mystery where like you have these little, we know that they're dinosaurs.
Compies or whatever.
Yes, they have the little teeny tiny dinosaurs, but the world, it's like in Costa Rica. So you have like, you start having different attacks. And it's interesting because you have the element of people kind of doing their job. I mean, who's to ever guess that there's dinosaurs in their defense? But like where you have like, different isolated situations involving dinosaurs unbeknownst to them. And then people kind of taking shortcuts or being like, oh no, there's no way that's a dinosaur. Like it's a little kid. They don't know what they saw. Or
Hmm.
the nurse, there's like a nurse and she,
They
oh,
said raptor.
the
Oh yeah,
baby
baby
gets
got eaten.
eaten and she's like, oh, I don't want to disclose that. So
Because they'll
we're,
think I'm a bad mom. I was like, okay, that's weird.
so anyway, all of these little isolated incidents, we are getting like a description of them and seeing how scientists are either like, we'll test it later, or like, we don't want to even bring up a dinosaur because we're embarrassed. There's no way. So slower we see, and that did not make it on film, which is interesting because I don't know if you remember, you haven't watched movie two and you said forever. The
Hmm.
scene of the attack of the like Costa Rica, the kid getting attacked.
Mm.
Steven Spielberg said that he did not put that in the film, like in film number one, because he thought it was like too gruesome and he didn't want to do that. Which is funny because it's the intro in movie two,
He
where
was
the
like, just kidding.
like
They loved
maybe,
it. He
I
was like, they
guess.
loved it.
So I thought there are some things that they didn't put in the movie that they put in the next few movies.
So I felt like they put So they basically, I feel like they got rid of most of that first like 25% of the book in the movie.
Hmm.
But I think they made up for it in that, like, on the movie when they go on the ride and they're like,
Yes,
welcome to Jurassic Park. Like, they
the
gave you like
DNA.
yes, they gave you like a quick, like, too long didn't read little blip. And so that's when they went over like, this is like the synopsis of what I mean, obviously, they didn't talk about dinosaurs escaping the park or anything like that, but they kind of like recapped you of what they have been doing, kind of what the book had been telling you.
Yeah, whenever I watched that, I told Josh, okay, I feel confident that that is the movie's way of like explaining this like we're five. And
I
it's
mean,
true. They
I
did it.
liked it. I appreciated it.
Steven Spielberg did that on purpose to he said it was to condense the novel's exposition into a few minutes. So I think to your point, that was like 25% of the book in 2 minutes.
Yeah, so it's funny because I would almost say the book and movie are kind of different genres. So like the movie I would say is like a can it be a thriller movie? But it's like an action-packed, thrilling horror, almost,
Mm,
in a way. I know it's not like supernatural or anything, but not, I don't know what you would call that. But the book is more, I was like wrestling, like, what is this genre? Like, what would you call it? Like, definitely you have the action, I mean, horror part, like, people are being killed. A lot of people die in the book, a
mhm,
lot. Um, I mean, it's a thriller. Like, there's a lot of action happening as you go.
mhm,
Um, but there's also this like major analytical part that they really go in depth of like, how is this happening? And it always comes back to that. Like, why is this happening? How did it happen? How did like we later learned the dinosaurs were breeding. That was a whole discovery where like in the movie they're just like it was kind of spoon fed to you like we made it through frog DNA. But that was
mhm,
like a they took a lot. That took a lot to get to that point that we discovered
mhm,
why they were breeding and stuff. So anyway, I felt like it was kind of a genre of its own. And so I told Taylor, I'm like, is this science fiction? And he's like, yes, it is. But I was like, I guess I kind of understood science fiction to me as like aliens
mhm.
or like Star Trek, or
Yeah,
and so I've kind of avoided the genre as a whole. Like I would see science fiction and I'm like, man, not for me. But I really did like this. So it kind of opened my eyes like, oh, maybe I like this genre too.
yeah, because it was very, I don't know that reflective is the right word. It just gives you a lot of ethical dilemmas.
Like
And
informative. And what's crazy is like it's informative to the point that you don't even know what is real and what is not real, but it's being presented as fact. And so the whole time I'm like, is this true? Like, is this a real thing
mhm,
or is it not? Like, obviously, I know like the dinosaurs weren't recreated. I know that part's not true. But then, like, the data, he was like, well, at the University of this, they discovered this, and the University of this. I don't know. Like, he presented it pretty well that you're like, this feels like I don't know. Like, does that make sense? Like a
yeah.
real life account of something that happened.
Yeah. Michael, who wrote it, he said that too, that whenever he wrote it, it was because he saw like this could happen. Or like in his mind, like he wrote it as kind of like a warning, I guess,
Hmm.
of science and like the things that he was seeing and happening in the science world, which I thought was interesting too.
I yes, I was thinking that like this is like my favorite type of book. Like I see that over and over again in all of my favorite books is like a very exciting, thrilling story. Like I need it to have a lot happen. I need it to be interesting, not boring. But on top of that, I love that there's like you said, a question later. Like it presents us something to actually think about in our world. So, like you said with the dinosaurs, but he kind of alludes to more than that. Like, I was thinking of all the things it could apply to today, like, like all the fads right now of weight loss or like Botox or plastic surgery or all these things where Malcolm, who was one of my favorite characters, I think, like it was so especially in the book. I feel like in the book he was very much more insightful. Like in the movie he was more funny, which I still liked, but in the book he was more insightful of like he said we now I'm tripping myself up. We want what we want now, and we aren't willing to work for it or willing to go through a process to have it. We're just like, we want what we want, and we want it now. And no matter what the cost. And he's like, you should have things through discipline, like things you
Mhm.
earn through discipline and hard work and time are more valued to you, and you take care of them more and make better decisions versus, I just want to be skinny now. And so I'm just going to,
Mhm.
take this pill to make me skinny. And it doesn't matter if I don't have to go through the steps of waking up early or going to the gym or eating differently. I just want I just want to
Yeah.
look different now. There's like so many, like you said, so many ways we could apply it. And as technology keeps evolving, there
Hmm.
are more. That's why I think it's still applicable today, is because, like, I don't know, so well written that it still applies 30 years later.
When I was reading it, I could not help but think of like space exploration, which makes sense
Oh, yeah.
because my husband works in space, which I don't know that I've said that. But so he works with spacecraft, and I have always felt, I don't know, not like weird, but I guess weird about it. Like Tower of Babel, like I'm just thinking, like literally, I am Malcolm. I am here thinking,
Should you?
just because you can, should you? Because I don't know. It's just is when you really think about it, it's wild. And he says that how he's like what when you were talking about that there's certain crafts that you develop that restraint and that discipline and that like what is the word? I don't know, like the responsibility, like you feel it more than if you're just standing on the shoulders of the science. And he says science, but that
Hmm.
science is the field where you don't have that because you are literally taking all of the research, all of the knowledge of generations, and then you're just building on that. So like you individually, you don't feel that full responsibility of what you're doing.
It's like science has become God, or it has made us believe like I am God because I can get what I want, and I don't have to pray to a spiritual being. I don't have to wait. I can have what I want right now because I want it and I can create it. And I'm like, I struggle. I don't know. It has made me really think like how many different places we do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a gray area. Obviously, I'm all about technology and medicine and all that stuff, but I think that's what Malcolm's saying. It's like it's this like it provides so much benefit, but then at what point are we like worshiping science and
Hmm.
it's what's killing us in the meantime. We're like killing ourselves at the altar of science, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, this is a good one. Like, this would be a good book club book. I can see people getting
Yeah.
very angry about some of these topics, but I think it's very good. If you can like take a step back and just talk about it, I think it'd be a good discussion, especially that. And I think that's why this book is still like really applicable this long later. So I love that part. Some things we were talking about that I also loved, and I was sad we didn't see in the movie, like the river when they were like on the raft on the river. I
Hmm.
thought that was pretty cool. We didn't get to see any of that. We didn't see the pterodactyls, which I'm told we see the pterodactyls later
Hmm. Yeah.
in the Jurassic World.
They're in the
Um,
third one. Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay. So later.
Hmm.
And then there was a scene with Tim with the T-Rex where like the T-Rex sticks its head out of the or in the waterfall
Oh,
and
yeah.
he like wraps his tongue around him. Whoo, that was one scene that I
That
was
was
like, I'm
stressful.
creeped out. Like it's scary. Getting
Oh, and then
scary.
something else that's in the books that's not, it can't be in the movies, but like I thought was interesting is that they always say how stinky they are, like how absolute rancid the carnivore
Yeah, like
dinosaurs are.
urine, like
Which,
ammonia.
makes sense though, because like when you go to the zoo, it smells like certain animals do
Yeah.
smell really bad. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So that was in the book often.
Stinky.
Anytime the meat eaters were close by, they were like, oh, you can smell them. And it made it like almost creepier to me.
We did laugh though in the movie because again, something Dr. Grant had to learn was like how the dinosaurs struggled to see, or at least the T-Rex did, struggle to see unless you were moving. But he had to learn that because you see him like, oh wait, yeah, it's weird. He looked over me, he whatever. But in the movie, it
Hmm.
automatically he was like, don't move, don't
Yeah.
move. Don't move. He needs motion to see. And Taylor's like,
Yeah.
how on earth would they know that? I'm like, he didn't know. I'm like, I've become that annoying person. I'm like, out
Uh-huh.
in the book, he didn't know.
There was a lot of elements like that. I'm trying to think. I feel like the raptors in the movie, I want to say, and maybe I'm getting them mixed up, but I feel like in the movie they were like, oh, and the raptors, they hunt. They hunt like one on the front and one two on the sides, or I don't know. Like
Yeah, they
they
were much
explain a
more,
lot to you.
they're almost more intelligent in the book.
Yes.
I mean, they were in the movie too,
But
but
it
you got
took
to
them
see more.
time. Yeah, in the book, and that's just overall. In the book, everything feels more of like a mystery. Like slowly you're
Hmm.
finding out all these different things. You're getting to understand the dinosaurs as they are. And in the movie, it kind of feels more like this is how it is, and then here's your story,
Well,
you know?
and in the book, the raptors, they are like very, very intelligent. So like in the movie, we see them like opening doors and, that kind of stuff. But in the book, it was almost like they were like setting traps, like a high, high level of intelligence, like for an animal. Like they're able to deceive, like we're going to set this trap and trick you like we're doing this, and then we're actually going to ambush you, or we're going to lay this out and act like this, and then we're going to do like, I don't feel like there are animals like that
I was gonna say,
now.
but see, it's funny because you say that. I was gonna say, I feel like there are animals like
Like
that.
what?
I mean, I don't know, but like I mean, I don't know, maybe not. I just think like
They're saying maybe chimps
when
and
I
gorillas.
watch yeah, when I watch these videos, like documentaries of animals, and I learn all these things about what they do and like how they have like hyenas have hundreds of sounds that are that's how they communicate, and they have like they all have a different meaning, and we don't know because we don't speak hyena. But I'm like, animals are very intelligent, so who am I to say? Who am
Yeah, but
I
that
to say?
was a special,
And
special level.
but the book said, because the movie did have the velociraptors opening doors, and I watched the movie. I had watched that scene before I had read that scene, and I was like, okay, you're opening doors now. But in the book, they did say that. In the book, they said
Um,
because of their hands or their claws that they could open doors.
my dog can open doors.
So yeah, Hamlet could open doors like that, the kind like
Yeah, the
that,
handle. Yeah,
the
Rory has
handle.
opened them before, so I was like, I believe that. But she's
Oh,
not out there like tricking me, pretending like she's hurt, and then just to murder me later or whatever. So
okay, so the Velociraptors, I think this is a good place to say it. That in the movie, I don't feel like they had a major role. And in the book, I felt like,
they were the main villain.
yes, because like the whole time they're like the T-Rex, and yeah, like we think the T-Rex is like the problem, which is
Hmm.
a problem. But the raptors, the Velociraptors are like, oh, the moment, guys, the moment. There's a moment in the book where the scientists are like, we have it all under control. They have all their systems in place, and they're telling the scientists, the paleontologists, they're telling them how the island works and how it's the safest environment ever and all the reasons why. And Malcolm is like, no, like, no, no, you guys are just, buffoons. And so he has them run their chart because they were like, at any given time in this park, we can
Oh
tell
yeah.
you where every animal is. So they're like, we have our little Excel sheet, and we have
I was
and
like, this seems so foolish. Like, I don't even I know this was a mistake.
I'm trying to find it in my book. Here it is. Okay, so they said we have, what is it, 238 animals in our park. And so they are saying at any given time, we can input our number. So we know we have 238 animals. So we put that number in our little chart, and it tells us
That
where
they found them all.
that they found them all. They're like, okay, 238 have been found. Cool. And then Malcolm is like, well, can you search for a different number of animals? And they're like, what? He's like, try 239. So they put 239, and then now we have 239 animals listed. And the scientists are like, what? We only have 238 documented here. So Malcolm says, he keeps upping the number, and he's like, run the chart
Try
to
like
300.
400, yeah, or
And so
whatever.
then they find 292 animals, 292 when they only expect 238. So as I'm looking at the chart, because they have charts and graphs in this book, which I love, you get the whole visual. So I'm looking at the chart and they have it by species. So Tyrannosaurus, they expect two in the park. They found two. And it goes down through, what is it, 15 species? I
I
think it's,
think so.
and the part where I was like, was whenever on the velociraptors, they expect eight and they find 37, which at this point, we have been told that the velociraptors are the smartest ones, that they open doors, that they kill for fun, like not just to eat, not just because they're hungry, but they have fun. Like Hillary said, they can, trap and
And they weren't on, and like there was no exhibit for them because they were so dangerous.
yeah, what in the world? Oh, and then at some point too, before I think it was before this, the little kid said he saw a velociraptor running
Uh-huh.
around, and they were like, "No, no, no. That is silly. There's no way." Um, yeah. So at that moment, I was like, I felt excitement. I was like, we have this many velociraptors unaccounted for
Which they
in
didn't
the
they
park.
didn't cover that in the movie.
No, and then they're breeding, which is a whole thing too. That they're like, well, how are they breeding? Because we only had females in the park. Um,
He done messed up, Henry Wu. I called him. I was like, "There's Dr. Wu," and Taylor's like, "That is so racist." And I'm like, that is his name in the book. But I don't know that they said it in the movie. They're just like Henry. I
oh,
was like, "He's Dr. Wu."
no, I don't think they said it in the movie. Okay, and
Yeah.
then the park too, the part where they are saying, well, we've never seen these extra animals. Like, where are these animals that we don't see? And the scientists were saying, well, we're looking at the chart. It's the small ones. The smaller animals are the ones that are jumping in those numbers of like unaccounted for. We didn't realize there were this many extra. And he's like, well, these smaller ones, they are nocturnal. So he's like, Grant, the paleontologist, he asks him, well, if they're nocturnal, has anyone been watching the cameras at night? And they're like, no.
Oh,
Yeah. And then at that moment, I have my notes. SMH. What kind of idiots do we have running this place?
yeah. It was just dumb. So much dumb stuff.
And this is also the moment that they see two juvenile raptors on a boat that is heading towards the mainland.
Yes, yes, and that was like a key point in the book. Like they're
Yes.
like counting down.
Racing the clock.
Yeah. And then on the movie, nothing. Did not talk about that at all. I guess it would be too complex to talk about it. It would just get too confusing. But that was an important part of the book. Um, okay, here's something that I did not like in the book, and the movie did better. If I had to pick one thing, it was Lex.
Yeah.
Lex in the book was insufferable. And I don't know if that's what she was supposed to be or if he's just like, well, that's a 7-year-old child, you know? But I have a 7-year-old child. I don't know if she's 7 or 8, whatever. I have a kid around that age. Lex was worse than my child on her worst day. Like, she was horrible. And I told Hannah, Lex is DW, like DW from Arthur. If you put DW on Jurassic Park, that would be Lex. Like everything
Yeah.
she said, she was just, I don't know. I could not with her. I was almost like wishing for her just to be snatched. Like,
I was like, she can go. She can get eaten by the T-Rex.
and Grant was so nice. He'd be like, "Can you please just listen?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" She just didn't obey ever the whole time.
And she
Even
was
like
mean too. Like she was
Yeah,
not
even at the
nice.
very end, she never learned ever. She was just like, "I'm gonna do what I want." She almost gets eaten 100 times, and then she's like, "No, I don't want this candy bar. I said I want ice cream." DW.
Yeah.
Just so, oh my goodness. And then
Yeah.
Timmy, whatever. I was like, how did he become this genius? Which
I
I guess
mean,
Lex became the genius in the movie,
yeah, uh-huh.
but But her computer looked easier than the one Timmy had. in the book. Because in the book, I was like, oh, what is this
Yeah.
coding? Like, he knew
Yeah.
how to code the security system, which, I mean, whatever. Maybe he did, but that was wild.
Yeah. It was. So okay, so Lex would be your least favorite character.
Oh, yeah. I
And
just,
who's your
every time she
favorite?
spoke, I liked Malcolm. I thought he said a lot of interesting stuff. Um,
He's my favorite too.
yeah. I mean, Dr. Grant was like a perfect character.
A possible least favorite candidate is Hammond, the
Yeah,
old
he
man who
was
did all this.
evil.
He was just oh yeah. At the very end where he is, which is another movie book difference. In the book, he dies at the end. And I'm talking about the old man who plays
The
Santa
owner.
Claus. Yeah, the owner. Um, he's in all the movies. Like he continues to live. A lot of characters die in this that the movies kept, and that's whatever. But anyway, even at the end, he's like the whole time he's blaming other people. Like he cannot accept that this would be a dumb idea.
And he hates Malcolm.
And everything's gone wrong at this point. People have died. Like it is chaos. The grandkids are missing. It's nothing is good. And he's like running through this jungle and broken ankle and he's like, "We'll start over." Like this is I just picked the wrong people. They don't see the vision. They were not smart enough or they were just not capable to do it. I can do this again. Like
Because
we'll
he
start
owned
over.
other properties.
Yeah, he's like, we'll start over. We'll get another island. We'll do this again. And I was at that moment. I mean, all throughout, but at
And
that moment,
he
I was,
hated his grandkids too.
yeah, he was,
He was like, I only brought them because I wanted my park to look good,
oh yeah,
and they've ruined everything. And then he died, and I was like, well,
he was a
oh well.
very unlikable character for me
hmm
the whole
I thought it was
time.
funny though, because Malcolm would say something like super insightful, like all the stuff we were talking about. And you're the reader, you're like, wow, yeah, like how could this apply, like we said, now? And Hammond every time was like, I don't get it. I don't, what is he talking about? Just, he has like no clue. Like, he does not, it never occurs to him like he's an actual problem in this ever. He never learned, no growth at all.
No.
But yeah, everyone died. Almost everyone died in the book.
Mm,
Ellie Ellie had almost no role to me in the book at all. She was
right.
just a B character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the movie, she did a lot more,
Yes.
which it didn't bother me. And the ending of the movie and the book, they're totally different. So I was telling Hannah, I was texting her, I do feel like he got the heart of it. And I was curious because Michael Crichton is also, he was like one of the screenwriters for this movie. So he was involved. And so I think that the movie got the heart of the book, which makes sense because he was also part of it. And Taylor and I were talking last night. We were like, maybe he saw it as like this alternate ending, like
Mm-hmm.
he was like, well, here's another possibility of how it could have ended. I don't know. I feel like that would take a lot of humility to be like, we're changing my book
Mm-hmm.
because I can see how you'd be like, no, it needs to end this way. Um, but I feel like, what's funny is I feel like the book kind of set up Jurassic World,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like with the dinosaurs im
Yeah.
um not immigrating. Yeah. What am I trying to say? Migrating. I'm like immigrants. Uh they're migrating into the normal world, which we have seen, like that's what we saw in the beginning. They are going to land. And so we kind of see that foreshadowing. What else did I want to ask you? Okay, so what did you not like about the book? Was there anything you didn't like?
I don't know. I don't feel like there was anything I didn't like.
I have a question. Something I did not like. Did you read this on your book, a Kindle or a paper or what?
Book, paper.
Okay. Okay. So I read it on my Kindle. This, I didn't deduct any stars for it, but I did not like this. It had like the Crescent City chapters
Oh.
of like no markation of that we're changing perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Was it confusing for you in the book or no?
No.
Because I kind of wondered if the book gave more spaces.
There's
You know what I mean?
huge spaces in the book. So
Okay.
I was able to read so much because, I mean, to me, they're big enough. Look at this. Like,
Okay.
so, I mean, I wasn't confused. Though, okay, the one thing I did not love about the book, which is random, but the last part where they're like jumping in the raptor
Oh,
nest,
I thought, yes, it was time
I
to
was
wrap
just,
it up.
I was confused. I felt like it was extra. I was like, what are we doing here? And then it felt like it ended abruptly where I was like confused what happened to the island. Like, I was like, what exactly happened here?
They bombed it.
Yeah, they bombed it, but it didn't. I don't know. It felt very like vague and like one page, and I was just like, I had to reread it because I'm like, wait, what? Um,
Unless they were going to go back and try to find the dinosaurs after they bombed it, then I don't know why they had to count and go in that raptor hole, other than they're like told Gennaro, you did this.
yeah,
You need to, which I agree with that.
he's like,
I was like, you did.
eat
Yeah,
it.
you did do this. But yeah, I thought it was like, okay, it's time to wrap it up. I agree with the movie. It was just like, let's end it. We don't need this raptor hole thing.
Interesting about the movie is online it said that the dinosaurs were only 15 minutes out of the 2 hours of movie time, which I thought was interesting.
Really?
Yeah, 15 minutes of screen time. It said only
Hmm.
11% of the film is dedicated to dinosaur scenes. And I think that's why I love the book and the movie. You're surprised by that? I was surprised by that too, because I don't feel like they ever fully lost sight of that, like the action of the dinosaurs, but also I love the book. I think I like the book better than the movie. I like both. What do you? Did you like the movie better than the book?
I know I like them both. I feel like they're so different. Like I said, it's almost like the movie was an alternate ending. It was
Mm.
enough different that I feel like it was kind of different, but it had the same heart as the
Mhm.
book. So I don't know. I thought the movie was great, and I had a greater appreciation for the movie after reading the book. So I think watching the movie by itself, you're just like, oh, this is exciting with the dinosaurs. But then reading it, you're like, oh, I have all this like fake
Mhm.
scientific info.
Yeah, both. I'm like, you need both. You need to watch it
Yeah,
and
the
read it.
whole experience.
And I was like Googling different dinosaur names as I was reading it so I could get the visual. And so I love that the movie has a lot of the visual, like, and the sounds. I mean, they're both just great. So I
Are
like,
you going to read The Lost World after?
yes, I have it on hold and then I plan to read it. Are you?
I do plan to. Not yet, because I have other stuff I'm doing right now, but I do want to. And I think that'd be a perfect summer book. These feel like good summer reads.
I know. It was fun. It was good.
Do you have anything else to say? I'm like,
Um,
we could start another session or not.
I mean, I have a quote I want to read, and then we can just end it on that, I guess. Malcolm says about scientists, which was my favorite line. Scientists have an elaborate line of BS about how they're seeking to know the truth about nature, which is true, but that's not what drives them. Nobody nobody has been driven by abstractions like seeking the truth. Scientists are actually preoccupied with accomplishment. They're focused on whether they can do something. They never stop to ask if they should do something. So I love it. And he says, "You're a bigger fool than I thought you were, and I thought you were a substantial fool." 10 out of 10.
To Hammond, yeah. I'm like, you are the worst. Does he play Colonel Sanders as well? I'm like that. It's also who he looks like
Who's that?
from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Oh, no, he plays Santa Claus.
Yeah, but also him. Look.
Yeah, he does look like him. That's not him. Okay, anything else?
No, I think that's it. It's gonna cut it. If you've made it this far and didn't add this episode to your DNF pile, thanks a bunch.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode for the Don't You Two Read podcast. We hope you enjoyed hearing about our recently read books and hopefully getting to know us better as we begin this podcast journey with you guys.
We will be including timestamps in the description on every episode so you can check there for books or products that we mention in today's episode.
Be sure to tune in to our next episode when we will be chatting about all things books. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Don't You Two Read Podcast, and you can find me at Hannah Reads.
And I'm at Hilary Reads. If you enjoyed today's episode, Would you take a moment to follow us? You can also rate and review us wherever you listen. And as always, please share this with all of your bookish friends.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, we hope you have a magical week filled with 5-star reads.